everyone. My name is Maria de la Paz. I'm from Argentina, and it's a privilege for me to be here. I want to give thanks to Carmen and Ruby for the opportunity and your leadership. Thank you for giving me voice in this place. You know, my story is like Moses' story, maybe worse, and some ways better. But Moses' story was the first story in the Bible about adoption. When I was a baby, just like Moses, my biological mother couldn't take care of me. She was in the hospitals days before having me, and my adoptive mother was losing a baby in the next door. The midwife in the story of Moses played a crucial role. She went to tell my adoptive mother there was a lady in the next room who wanted to give her daughter for adoption. The long, short story is a month later, I was in my parents' house, and it was in the process of adoption. But the story was not a bed of roses. After my adoption, my name changed. I went from being Justina Mamani, which means justice, to Maria de la Paz, that means peace. But I repeat, not was a bed of roses. Around when I was 5 and 6 years old, my parents divorced, and the big problem began. I started going from one house to another. I passed through fights, violence, abuse. I never know where I would pass the night. I went everywhere with my backpack, loaded with school stuff, my toys, my clothes, and I didn't know where I'm going to sleep. There were years like living like that, where I only asked myself, what will be if I live with my biological mother? Why will they adopt me if I'm going to live like this? Whenever there was a family meetings, I went from outside and felt like I was alone. I feel lonely, different than everyone. Sometimes I want to escape and find my biological mom. I had been asking why I don't resemble like my family. I had to explain about that I'm adopted, and in the fact when you're adopted, you don't look like anyone in your family. I love going to malls, to supermarkets, buses, because I like to observe the people. Perhaps one day I can find my mom. I grown up with that desire to find her, to understand my story. Why didn't she want me? Why did she decide to keep my brothers and not me? But just like Moses, I was being prepared for a time like this. I grew up in my adolescence. I began to have eating problems, bulimia, anorexia, a lot of bullying, drugs, alcohol, seeking a purpose, a sense why I'm here, why I exist. Why did I live through everything in this experience? Why did others have a family where they sat down on a Sunday to have a barbecue and a family time, and I didn't know where I will be? Why did my classmates get picked up at school by parents, and I went alone? Why did I suffer so much violence, abuse, while others enjoyed the life so easy? I couldn't find meaning. Independence, anger, frustration, and lack of hope start growing and growing in my heart. And sometimes I ask myself today, where was the church in that scenario? Why does nobody see and help? I didn't have so much connection with my dad from the age to 11 to 18. But when I was 19, he found that he had a terminal cancer. We reconciled 2 months before he died. After 8 months of battle with cancer, that took him away. His last days of life, I spent with him in the hospital. That night, I spent with my dad again after almost 9 years. When I woke up, my dad passed away. I remember everyone telling me returning to his big dream, to spend time with his daughter again. his daughter who brings peace like my name in everything. And that marked me because I started thinking, why they changed my name? Why my first name is about justice and my second name about peace? What could it mean? 1 year later, in 2012, I started going to church. And my best friend gave me a Bible, and I remember that I read it in 3 days. I have a lot of questions, thoughts, but I love Ephesians 1 to 4, 5. Chosen before the creation to be predestined, adopted by Jesus Christ. So power, the Bible is talk about adoption, talk about me. But that led me to talk and think about Moses, because he was born for a great purpose than himself. So I had to find that will be for me. In 2015, I met Andrea dos Santos, a missionary retreat. Not quite understanding why I was there, but God did. Upon returning, I went to her house for lunch, and that day she handed me a plate of food. I took it, and I sat on the floor in front of the TV to watch and starting to eat. Suddenly, she asked me, "Did someone teach you how to eat at the table? Do you don't have family?" And I replied, "No." And that is when she said, "Well, now you have. Sit on the table and wait that everyone have a plate and eat all together." That day was the beginning and the end of a season. Meeting Andrea was a God divine intervention, transitioning from independence to dependence. In love, but it was a process for me. It was too challenging for me to allow myself to be loved, to sit around a table, having time in family. But her intervention was who brought difference and changed my life. It was God revealing himself through a family, showing that he had a purpose in my life and with my life. I could say that God saw me. She believed in what God saw in my life, and she encouraged me to not stop seeking God. I learned to enjoy Sundays, going to shopping, share ideas, plan, seeking God, and dream that my life can change others. Her divine intervention transformed my whole world to the truth of Jesus. God can turn crisis into hope. But my desire to continue knowing about my mother never faded. I want to find someone in this world who resembles like me. I want to see that somebody had my same eyes, nose, or something in my face like someone that you can say I look like. And I asked Andrea if we could find my mom, if we can call her. A friend gave me the number. Andrea asked if I was sure, and I said yes. We entered in her room. I sat beside her, and she started calling her loudspeaker. I felt that seconds like hours. Each ringtone that she didn't answer, my stomach being more and more tense. Until she said hello. I held my breath, and Andrea was there with all her love, told her who she was, who I was, and I want to give thanks because she adopted me. She gave me for adoption. And I want to meet her to express my gratitude. And then she says I couldn't stop talk. I breathed. She cut the phone, and she hugged me. And in that moment, God reminded me, all the people that are around me that love, who make me part of the family. Maybe it's not the family that I want. It's not perfect or similar like me. But it's the family that God's revealed his love. Later, I continued struggling with my orphanhood, not able seeking to see God like a father, even when I didn't know about him. And Andrea one day was so angry. And he said, how longer you doubt with his love? How much longer will you keep fighting and fighting? Do you want that God write your name with the stars? And she left so angry. And I went in a rebel mode. but that impacted my heart. And then I start crying and say how much evidence I need. Without the revelation of fatherhood, it will be impossible to overcome orphanhood. Because the spirit of orphanhood all the time constantly reminds you that you are alone, even if you are surrounded by thousands and thousands of people. But his fatherhood dispels all darkness. His love calms all fears and loneliness. So I come back and feel his father Abba heart. 6 months later, that called Andrea's significant intervention, God spoke me about a world without orphans. When I made my life project for the next years, I say I want to see a world without orphans with God, and that starts with me. No more struggling without thinking that I'm alone. Recognize his love with my imperfections, with my deficiencies, but maybe with the next generation we can see a world without orphans. This project involves seeing people in sports, in church, NGOs, refugees, families. That was my focus. And I told to God, I want to walk in this. It was crazy that in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I almost died by pancreatitis. I told God that even from my bed, when I'm resting, I want to serve him. I took training about the roadmap. And then I think, if I can translate the roadmap in Spanish, so many people can understand the heart of God to the vulnerable children. With the help of Anya and Hazel, we start to do it. That is how I started serving with World Without Orphans. In 2021, Daniela appeared, the daughter of a father who abandoned her when he was 13, a mother who died when he was 9, from a very small town in Córdoba, a province in Argentina. She came to Buenos Aires with 20 years to try out for a women's football soccer play in a best club in Argentina. And someone asked me if I can pick up her to the bus station and take to the club. I say yes. She trained that week and passed the exam, and the club offered her to be part of the team, but without accommodation and without money and without food. But God spoke me, if I can be a home for her. So after that, I decide, okay, I open my home for her. Because God is who invited me to know more about to be a family and to transform my character also, like a mother for others. She accepted, and we live in the beginning in a borrowed apartment. And then God gave us an apartment. In that process, I started serving with Orphan, the regional team. And thank you also, Orphan Promise, because allowed me to continue with this program. Thank you, Karina Nunez, for being partnership and be part of this. And today, I have 6 and 7 girls that come for discipleship, cooking, spend time together, sleeping home, and looking God, and their stories be changing. Taking them from orphan spirit to be the daughters of the King of Kings, from victim to protagonist. Daniela was also able to reconcile with the father last year. We spent Christmas in 2023 with Daniela and her father after almost 10 years. God is the only one who can change these scenarios, the only one who can turn from crisis to hope with a purpose. But what was necessary? Someone to intervene, someone that showed me, with God, I can do it. Someone like Andrea, who take me patience, show me love, teach me to eat vegetables, teach me to take care of myself, and allow myself to care for others. Correct me, disciple me. And here I am today with you, still learning how to be a daughter of God, to be able to enjoy, to be able to be in a family, and know God every day that his plans are greater than mine. I never thought that I can be in the other part of the world talking about his wonders and how great he is. And I understood I understood that both names had a great meaning in God. Remember, Justina and Maria de la Paz? Justice and peace, two necessary things for a nation to rate in love, in principles, and true in God. Psalms 85 said that in Spanish, that the peace and the justice, they kiss and become one. In him I come one, and have my name's a purpose. His intervention and people like Andrea encouraged me to seek more God. So I tell you, if my life could be changed, and I could go from being an orphan to be an adopted daughter of the King of Kings, every child can do it. If we go from crisis to hope. But what is the necessary in this story? That someone intervene. Did you lose your name? Are you that one that needs somebody that intervene in your life? What is your real name? What is the name that what has God give you? And use that name to be an influence in this world. Promote adoption, because my story says that saved my life. Was hard? Yes, but still saved my life. Promote foster family. Open your home. Open your table, because you can be a referent for a child, for an adolescent, for a young people that need a family. Because my story says that changed life. With the Father Spirit, we can be family for others. We can open our tables, our dinners, our lunch, because you have somebody next to you that need a family. And all together, serving and look at Jesus, we can see from crisis to hope a world without orphans. Thank you.